Hey everyone, it's Jamie from Independent Street NOLA and Seasons and Ritual, and I just want to jump on real fast and talk about just some hits that I got from the initial announcement of this new Pope, um, Pope Leo. Um, and I'm sure I'll do a deeper dive later on. This is just when he was announced, I went and looked to see where the planets were. So the first thing that I noticed was that the moon had just moved into Libra, and Libra is an air sign, and us going into this age of Aquarius, I think that is very auspicious for us all. Libra is cardinal. It's a cardinal air sign, so initiates, and so it initiates this new balance that I believe that we are ready to see on the earth. Um, the moon energy is that feminine energy. It is our intuition. It is always moving. It is how we, clock cycles from the moon cycle. The moon being in that young, I always say young, I think it was maybe it was either between 2 and 4 degrees of Libra because I was trying to go backwards. When it said it was at noon noon Eastern, I believe. So is when they announced his papacy. So whenever I have young degrees in signs, I always think of that as the pages in the tarot, and that would be the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords, to me, all pages are unjaded. They know they can get the job done because they come in with that young energy that says, yes, I'm going to do it. Um, and so the Page of Swords, it is about communication. It is about thought. It is about, to me, the Page of Swords is the only page that is looking backwards. All the other pages are looking forwards. And I think this is so interesting because to me, that's always talking about either speaking about the past differently or bringing new ideas. I always say new ideas to old situations, but knowing that they will have the communication and the this new knowledge coming in to move the information through. So the Pope came in on these young degrees of Libra. Libra is the scales. Libra just came out of the lunar south node, which was helping us leave behind people pleasing. So that is good. Again, I don't know the Pope's sun sign. I was just going on what the planets were when he came into this announcement. So I can do a deeper dive on that. Maybe I'll go on Andre's channel or and we can talk about that together. I don't know. So um but the moon, I immediately looked to see where the moon was. The Venus is in Aries. Venus is in that I am presence. I think this is important. I always check to see where Venus and the moon are. Most people check to see where the sun and Mars are, but I think it's important for this feminine energy on the planet to check where the moon and Venus are. And so Venus is in Aries. And like I said, she's in that I am presence. She is with Neptune. Neptune is the new consciousness that just came into Aries. She is still conjunct with Saturn, who is at the end of Pisces. Pisces is that alpha and omega energy, the beginning and the ending. And so, to me, it is bringing in this new consciousness of understanding who we are at this time, bringing these energies into balance. That is Libra, knowing knowing that he can do it. They said that he is going to keep with what Pope Francis put into the church, um, which is good. Keep moving the church forward because when it comes to organized religion, it can be good and it can be really bad. And so there's no doubt about that. So we hope that he can still move with that spirit of unity, spirit of love, love thy neighbor, that spirit of that we are all children of the one source. So I'm really hopeful, and I really like the fact that he picked the name Leo. Leo is fixed fire. That is where Mars is right now, actually. And Mars is in Leo. And to me, I believe Mars has gone under this intense transformation, honestly, since 2019. But he did spend the last 6 months in Cancer, where he was retrograde and out of bounds. Leo rules Aries. And so Leo, I mean, Mars rules Aries. I'm sorry. Mars spent the last 6 months in Cancer, where he was out of bounds. Um, Mars rules Aries. Mars has stepped into this idea of a divine masculine where he does listen to his intuition, which then means Aries has to become a divine masculine as well. And then the fact that Neptune has moved into Aries, bringing in that new consciousness, along with Venus in Aries, bringing in that Venetian energy, to me is all pointing to this idea of this divine masculine energy forming together and being on the planet. And I think that is what this age of Aquarius that we've moved into is bringing in. So he has renamed himself Leo in Vedic astrology, and I may be in tropical astrology too, but definitely in Vedic astrology. If you're born in the sign of Leo, that is the kingmaker. I do believe Prince William was actually born. I think he's a Leo, but in the Vedic astrology. Um, but that's why we always see, Leo usually has a crown, the king, the lion it usually has a king, like a lion king. It is this idea of a king. And the fact that the Pope, whose great grandparents immigrated to America, he then was born in Chicago. And then, going into the order, he then is an immigrant. He's been an immigrant his whole life. Well, not his whole life, but he's been an immigrant since he's been in Peru in these other churches. He's lived the life of an immigrant. And the fact that um, he's quote unquote American, right? And most Americans come from immigrants, and I don't know why we forgot about that. Um, and then he's been living the life of an immigrant. And when he came and was announced Pope, he spoke three different languages, but he didn't speak English. And I think that is so beautiful. I think he's really rewriting um, the story of where we need to be, especially as Americans, and being humble, because we do need to be humbled and we do need to have more humility. What is being shown right now in the White House is not, is the exact opposite. And in America, we're having these no kings protesting. And yet he came, and he says he is an American, by birth. He picked this name of Leo, which is a king. But the way that he's presenting it already is so beautiful and so different from any other, I would even say king. I can't say monarch because we don't live in one, even though we're trying to get to one, than before. And in the tarot, the strength card is the number 8 card. And I always associate that with Leo because it is the number 8 card. It always has a lion. And it usually depicts a person sitting with a lion or taming a lion. And for years, I've always said this idea of strength is the way that we show compassion and the way that we can soothe ourselves and soothe the other. Maybe even soothe what maybe seems impossible, like soothing a lion. Maybe that seems impossible, but that is where our true strength comes from. And the fact that he picked the name Leo really is going to help me drive this message home because it was very hard for people to understand that strength was never depicted with someone wrestling a lion. It was always someone soothing a lion. So I'm very excited. I hope we just got to wait and see, but I do hope um, he can embody what it means to be a divine masculine. He can embody what it means to be in a controversial space, such as Catholicism and organized religion. Um, and hopefully bring it back to a space that is more loving for all that is spirituality is so sacred to people and how they tap into it and how they express it should be, to me, this is just me, I think to me should be on an individual basis. And so hopefully he is here to rise to this challenge, to help us get into this age of Aquarius, to bring things back into balance. With air signs, I always talk about the head and the heart. Fixed air is supposed to be the mind, but I'm always say we need to start thinking with our heart space. The scales, head and the heart, Gemini to the twins. I usually say the head and the heart as well. So, um, just a quick little video of what I saw with the planets when he uh, accepted this position. Um, Also, it was on May 8th, right? Which is again the number eight card, strength card, infinity, the eight. So a lot of good signs there. Um, so we'll see. We just have to wait and see. But astrologically speaking, on the day of, I think it looked really good. And to me, what he is quietly speaking with picking his name, not speaking English, um, being an immigrant himself and a son of immigrants. I think the masculine is getting something that they can look up to that can really cut through this idea of the manosphere and hopefully bring in the idea that we've been living in this, male patriarchy. And so the problems that we are having today is because of that, and take responsibility for that in like a loving, proactive way. Um, and to move through that to get us all onto a higher energetic space for us all, right? For us all, because the divine feminine energy isn't going anywhere. It needs for us as people, for us to be whole, we have to be divine in that masculine and feminine energy, and that is that yin and yang. That's always been talked about, keeping things in balance. And so here he was on a Libra moon. So let's see. If you guys have any thoughts yourself, feel free to put those in the comments below. And I hope everyone has a great weekend.